Hey, what's up, guys? I'm pretty fired up today because my favorite YouTube philosopher, the great critical thinker, Warren Smithington, has posted a video earlier today entitled "America's Most Famous Marxist Professor Exposed, Pretending to Debate Jordan Peterson." So the professor he's talking about is Richard Wolff, and apparently he gets exposed in this video. Not entirely sure how. Maybe he drops dong at some point during this video. But anyway, let's get into it.
I can't believe this is even being taught.
And that's the end of capitalism.
This guy, Richard Wolff, is the preeminent Marxist professor. He claims that Jordan Peterson dodged a debate with him.
About a year ago, sent me a bizarre invitation. It was to invite me to debate Jordan Peterson. And I said, of course I'll debate him. I said, okay, this is going to be kind of easy. This is sort of...
Wow, he's really digging into the archives here. I mean, this interview with Michael Brooks is probably from 5-6 years ago.
of childish stuff. I got called back by them, and they told me he withdrew, that the debate was off.
He claims that Jordan Peterson oversimplifies Marxism because...
Wait, hold on. That editing is so crazy.
Stuff. I got
Although
called
he's
back
known
by
for this
them,
kind
and
of
they
crap.
told me he withdrew, that the debate was off.
He claims that Jordan Peterson oversimplifies Marxism because, yes, it was a feature of Stalin and Lenin, but that's not an argument against Marxism.
Therefore, it's a mystery to him, he says this, why anybody who isn't perverted would be interested in Marxism, since it equals Stalin, which equals murder, or something like that. So I have, in this ersatz way, debated Mr. Peterson.
So let's strip all that away and listen to his own words.
It's a logical outcome of the analysis, which is why Marxian economics can't be taught, of course. Because once you lay it out here, and I can tell from your faces, it's kind of straightforward. You can kind of see what ought to be done here. It's not rocket science.
Marx explains what he means by exploitation. If a worker, during the time he or she works, produces more value for the employer than the employer pays them in wages, that's all exploitation means.
Yes, there's no point in me paying an employee if the end result does not bring in profit.
You have
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. That's the whole problem with the system of capitalism, is that it requires exploitation. If you hire someone and pay them less than the value they produce, that is exploitation. That is just inherent in the system of capitalism. That's his point. That's bad.
have to produce more in every hour than you get paid. Otherwise, this system doesn't work. So for those of you, and I have to tell you this because partly you need to hear it and partly I admit I get a kick out of telling you.
I think that's very revealing, the fact that he gets such a kick out of telling the students this. And in the students' response, you can see why this would be appealing.
Wait, why is it revealing though? You didn't really say anything. What is revealing about that? Sure, Richard Wolff finds it amusing that some people don't realize that capitalism is inherently exploitative. Is this the part where he drops dong? Where he reveals himself?
Those of you who think that in a capitalist system you're never going to work for anybody who doesn't pay you what you're worth, you don't understand the system you're in.
So it's a very appealing story for students, which is why it spreads.
That is never going to happen because that's...
Wait, but Warren, where's the argument against what Richard Wolff is saying though? You haven't said anything. What's your response? Not just, oh, that's a story that people like to hear because it makes them feel good or whatever. What's the argument, Warren?
That's how this system works. So that when you go home at the end of a workday and you feel vaguely ripped off, it's because you are.
It is so ignorant that it takes your breath away.
What is the dollar amount that you are worth. The only way to come to that realization is through the journey itself, which is gaining experience. The journey that's going to allow you to come to the realization of what you're capable of doing, because you don't even know what that is yet. You haven't even reached your full capacity.
No, dude, no matter what stage you are in your career, right? Unless you are the business owner yourself, right? If you are an employee, then you will be paid less than the value that you produce. It doesn't matter if you have 1 year of experience, 1 day of experience, 10 years of experience. It's the same thing no matter what. No journey required.
And the psychologist or others who helps you get over that feeling isn't doing you any favor.
You could tell by the audience's reaction that they love this message, because work is sacrifice. It's a sacrifice, doing something you don't want to do for the sake of the long term.
It doesn't have anything to do with work itself, Warren, okay? It has to do with the relationship between the employer and the employee, right? It's not the work itself. It's being controlled, having your working conditions controlled by a minority of people or one person, depending on the structure of depending on the structure of the company. This idea that, people don't want to work when they point out that they're getting paid less than the value that they produce. This is the problem. That's the problem. That's one of the problems, okay?
That feeling to fuel, it's very important, to fuel a recognition that that's what capitalist production is.
Capitalism allows us to create the world by the way we live it, by the choices that we make. If you believe the proposition that capitalism is forever rigged and you'll never be able to succeed, well, then that proposition will become true. So be careful teaching this.
You hire workers.
No, dude, it's just mathematically true. It's just mathematically true. Not everyone can be a boss. Not everyone can be a business owner. Not everyone can own the means of production under capitalism, right? It's just mathematically not possible, right? Not everyone can be the CEO of the company they work at. Not everyone can be a sole proprietor, right? Everyone has their own individual business. It doesn't make sense.
Part of the time that they work, they produce an output that is given back to them at the end of the week. That's their wage. You all do know, right? You produce for the employer for 8 hours. Then you go home and you leave in the workplace what you produce. Because if you take that home with you, what you produce, people in dark blue uniforms come to your house and they hurt you.
No one can take away knowledge from you. No one can take away experience that occurs on that journey. No one can take away your story. And he's acting as if that's just of no consequence or value at all.
Who cares?
15 people.
What relevance did that have to this discussion? So what? Yes, you gain experience and knowledge. That's great. That does not dissolve the relationship between the employer and the employee. It's still there. Come on, Warren. Actually address his arguments.
Draw into their hands the surplus of all the employees that are busy using their brains and muscles to make cars and trucks and all the other things General Motors makes. The board of directors, 12, 15 people, decide what to do with the surplus.
Someone has to decide the strategic moves. And Richard Wolff, what are you proposing? All the workers in the factory are responsible now for the leadership, so we're going to hold a vote. How efficient do you think that is?
Part of it goes...
Wait, what? So if a company is worker owned, it's automatically inefficient? Can you demonstrate that? Or are you just making that up?
Goes to the government in taxes. But that's not much of a discussion. But they do spend a lot of time trying to get that reduced, don't they? And now you know why.
Of course they do. Everyone does. No one wants to pay more in taxes than they have to. It's not so that they can have more money to buy off politicians.
What? What? Are you fucking serious? Yeah, corporations and wealthy individuals are not trying to buy off politicians to lower their taxes, to reduce regulations, so that they can increase their profit and pocket the difference, right? Pocket those tax savings. They're not trying to do that? Are you serious? Oh, God.
The surplus, we're rich and powerful. We better give a cut of the surplus to the political system.
This is what it's all about, is this argument in Marxism that it's all a game of power. At the end of the day, this is all just about ripping off the workers so that they can buy political influence.
Why? You need this.
Okay, you're just describing what Richard Wolff said, but you did not refute what he said. What is the point of this video, dude, if you can't provide an argument? But, I mean, I'm just like, I'm old man yelling at cloud because all of your videos do this, but, you know, if anybody's watching this, the 3 people that might watch this is what he does. He does not address arguments that he analyzes. You know, I put analyzes in quotes, right? He just repeats what they say in a silly voice, and that's his refutation.
Explain to you to make sure that the inconvenience of a democratic voting system where everybody has one vote, not about how much money they have, but by the fact that they're a living person, that's a very dangerous arrangement.
No, it's not that it's a dangerous arrangement, it's that it's not efficient. There's nothing stopping a company from doing it this way, and they would if it was efficient.
So you can't have this explained to the American people.
Wait, hold on. I need to go back.
Why? You need this explained to you to make sure that the inconvenience of a democratic voting system where everybody has one vote, not about how much money they have, but by the fact that they're a living person, that's a very dangerous arrangement.
No, it's not that it's a dangerous arrangement, it's that it's not efficient.
I think Warren misunderstood what Wolff is saying. He's not talking about having worker co-ops where the employees or the employee owner votes for whatever, right? Their managers and their CEO, whatever, their pay package. He's just talking about the political system, voting for our government officials. Oh man, is he watching? Is he even paying attention to the video?
There's nothing stopping a company from doing it this way, and they would if it was efficient.
Oh man, he's getting so worked out. He's so upset. He's so upset that someone like Richard Wolff, who is pretty popular, is pointing out the contradictions of capitalism. He's really upset by it. I love it.
So you can't have this explained to the American people. Because, especially in a country where you babble endlessly about democracy,
Yep.
oh, everything is justified by democracy, that the first question a half-wit would ask is, excuse me, but democracy would mean that the people as a whole would make these decisions.
There's nothing preventing you from doing this model that you're articulating. If what you're proposing was more efficient, we would be seeing it occur. The fact that we don't see it proves that it can't compete in a free market.
No, dude. The reason that we don't see it to the same degree as we do in other places, I mean, you have the Mondragon Corporation in Spain, right? And we do have co-ops in this country, right? But they're not obviously as prevalent as a capitalist structured firm, obviously. But the reason, like one of the big reasons, is because it's difficult to get funding, right? Like if someone has a lot of assets, right, that they can borrow against, right, or just deploy, right, by investing in a company that they start or somebody else's company, that's more likely in a capitalist system. That's just more likely. If you had a system where workers could come together and, you know, take out a loan from a bank for $1 million or whatever it is, $10 million, I don't know, however much it takes to start a business, right, depending on what industry they're in and, you know, what size they need and how many employees they anticipate having, that is much more difficult. In our current system, it would be easier if we had a banking system that, you know, that catered to that structure of a firm. We just don't have that. It's not that it's impossible to do in this country. It's just that it's much harder. It's much easier for someone who already has access to resources to use those resources to start a business.
Us would have to have a way to decide what to do with the surplus we produce, since it shapes the lives we live. And that's the end of capitalism.
I'm going to make a movie. Which locations we're going to use, who we're going to cast as the actor, well, that gets opened up to a vote. Everyone on the crew of the movie gets a say in that. It's not practical, it's not efficient, it won't result in a good movie. It just won't work. It's
But that's not what he's advocating. He's not saying, look, we should throw every single thing that the company does to a vote. He's advocating that the workers own the business, right? That is one idea of socialism, is that the workers directly own the business, and that they vote on who manages that business. And I would imagine that depending on the importance of the actions of the business, right? Like if they want to expand, right? Or if they want to, some strategic move, should we dump chemicals into this lake, whatever, right? Like then that would probably be put up to a vote. But it's a straw man to describe what Richard Wolff is advocating is we have to vote on every little thing we do. Oh, if our business wants to, throw a pizza party, we got to vote on that shit. No, it's not what he's saying.
Paradox of a forced democracy. We're going to force this upon you to allow everyone a say.
One of the other things you have to do with the surplus is pay managers. Managers don't make cars and trucks.
If you read Elon Musk's biography, he talks about how he came to the realization that the best managers spend time on the floor speaking with the workers, because the workers provide input on ways that they can make the process more efficient. Elon Musk completely flips this on its head and is proof capitalism allows for what Elon Musk has done to occur. He slept on the floor of the factory.
They wouldn't have the faintest idea of how even to start. Their job is to do completely other things that don't produce anything. For example, the purchasing manager, what does he or she do? They go and buy the raw rubber and the raw steel and the other things that go into the car. They don't make anything.
Yeah, as if there's no value in efficiently purchasing the materials necessary to build the Tesla.
They're out there buying stuff. The sales manager, does he make anything? No. His job is to take the finished product, the car, and get rid of it, sell it to somebody.
What good is it having the product if you can't sell it? Therefore, there's value in being able to sell that.
So you
have to let Richard Wolff finish. I highly doubt, because I have read some Richard Wolff. Okay, I'm a smart guy. Okay, one of the smartest, many people say. I don't say that, but others do. Richard Wolff is not saying that managers, salespeople, etc., are not useful or even essential to the firm. They provide value in different ways. They don't produce value in terms of making things. They perform an administrative function, right? Although I don't know if you would say sales is administrative, but the manager, the accounting department, right? The IT department, these are all necessary functions to support the part of the business that does produce the stuff. And so I doubt Richard Wolff is just saying, oh, those people don't matter. Those people suck. I hate those people.
I have all these people doing this if the enterprise is going to work, but they don't produce any value for you.
To say that has no value because they're not physically making anything, nothing is stopping you from going out and switching up this model and making improvements.
What I have just told you is Marx's argument saying everything is about the employer, the board of directors, and the major shareholders. Most shares in American companies are owned by a tiny number of people. 1% of shareholders own 75% of the shares. The owners of the company.
According to him, in all cases under capitalism, you're getting ripped off. Then explain to me, because I don't work for an employer, and that's only been made possible because of capitalism. Capitalism has resulted in this platform called YouTube, and that's an example of a completely alternative model. But I've only been able to reach that point working as a teacher, working as a professor, that allows you, you take kind of this pay hit because it allows you more of a lenient schedule to work on other endeavors.
At that moment, Marx says something which was a theoretical breakthrough, even though Everybody knows that. A tiny number of people make all of the decisions.
There's a cost to not having a boss. It all falls on me. I'm in the unknown. It is uncertain. It can be rewarding. It can be scary though, because there's that unpredictable element. Some people...
What you're describing is being a sole proprietor, right? That is not relevant to talking about the fundamental relationship between the employer and the employee, right? Or the employer controls the employee's working day, right? Whether directly or indirectly. And it is true that the further you move up, there is more degree of flexibility, potentially. I mean, it depends on which job you're talking about. And whether or not you actually do move up as opposed to staying in the same position, whatever. But that relationship still exists, right? And you are still producing more value than you are compensated for, right? Assuming that you're involved in the production of a good or service. So you going off into this, pseudo-intellectual YouTube career doesn't have any relevance to the conversation. Like, what enables you to exist on YouTube is not like someone with a fuck ton of money invested in Google. It's the workers that support YouTube today. The people that own Google are not responsible for Google's continued existence. It's the employees, right? If they didn't have any employees, it would fall apart. I mean, that's just how a firm works, right?
Find more value in having that certainty provided by a model. Okay, you're a teacher. I go in, I know what I got to do every day. The paycheck's going to be there. There's not this element of the unknown. It's not all on me.
And this is Marx's analysis. This is what he does in Capital.
When Marx came up with these theories, it was back when there was the assembly line model, the Industrial Revolution.
Still exists.
People were working in factories, and you can apply this to a factory setting, but as we're going to see in a moment, capitalism allows for the capacity to create more efficient models. He's treating this as the ultimate straw man.
If that's the analysis, the conclusion, in a sense, leaps out at you. The mass of people, the ones working there, to start with them, they've got to make the decision of what is done with the surplus they all produced.
The only way to have it exist would be to impose it, to say you have to do it this way and open it up to all workers, which will make companies less effective, less innovative.
Yeah, that's just not true. There's 8 seconds left in this video. I thought he said there was something else coming up. No, I don't think people should be forced to work for a certain type of company. I think our financial system and our government should support different types of firm structures. Also, this claim that employee-owned businesses aren't efficient or effective is coming out of nowhere. He hasn't provided one specific example or data point comparing the efficiency, the lifespan of an employee-owned business, or, I don't know, all of them compared to all of privately owned firms. But that would have required Warren to do like 5 seconds of research. You make a claim, you say, oh, employee-owned businesses, they suck ass, and they're just so inefficient. But also, I'm not going to look up if that's actually true. I'm not going to look up if that's actually true. But I mean, look, this is a common theme in most, if not all, of Warren's videos. He makes an assertion, gives no backup, but then also gets like upset when people like David Pakman ask for data to back up people making claims when he was on the Patrick Bet-David show. That annoyed Warren. Warren is just sometimes very confusing to listen to because he's all over the place. And I find it just like hilarious that so many people listen to this guy. I mean, there's a lot of dumb people out there, including Warren. But it's really fascinating. It's fascinating. Once again, Warren has showed us that he does not like to do any research or any amount of critical thinking when analyzing videos. And he's still doing the super choppy, awkward editing. Well, all right, guys. I think I'm done. I just had a brain aneurysm watching this video, so I'm gonna take a couple of days to recover. But thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, go for it. I guess I don't know why you would. My videos suck, but go ahead and do it anyway. Like, I think, is the other thing people say to do. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye bye.